Okay, so please put your cameras on. Thank you. Now, in the listening section that we have here, it's about you have to listen, as the name says, you have to listen something, and then you need to answer questions about that listening. Okay, in this case, it's gonna be divided in two. That is the conversation task and the lecture task. You will see the two of them. You have 2 or 3 conversations. In each conversation, you have to answer 5 questions per conversation. Then you also have a lecture. You need to listen a lecture, and it has 6 questions per lecture. Okay, so every listening that you will have, it lasts between 2 or 3 minutes or 4 or 6 minutes each. Okay, so the listening section is the second section on the TOEFL test. It will last about 60 minutes, like an hour, and it measures your ability to understand authentic speech patterns used in academic and non-academic situations. I mean, formal situations and informal situations. Authentic speech patterns include how do we speak, like hesitations, self-corrections, repetitions, the tone of voice, and false starts, like a normal speech. So the listening section consists of conversations and lectures, and also discussions. There are 3 arguments that can be mapped out using the 3 steps, like the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Typically, the conversations are problem solution scenarios, while the lectures and discussions are academic arguments that teach, then test you about the topic. That's how they divide, how they weigh. Okay, so for this, you have 2 types. Well, in this case, all the answers are going to be multiple choice, like the previous one, like in the reading, you have multiple choice. The difference here is that you cannot go around and decide which question you will answer first and then and so over. In this case, you have to go in order, one by one, okay? And the time for each question you decide. You can take, again, 1 minute to answer one question or 5 minutes answering one question. The thing is that you need to answer fast. Before you begin, you will do a soundtrack. Remember, at the time of the TOEFL, be sure that your headset works properly. I mean, you can listen correctly and your microphone works correctly, etc. Because it is necessary to you to understand signal words and all these things. For this, I'm not saying that you need to understand or use correctly the topic that they will be using. Okay, it doesn't matter if you understand or not the topic. Okay, if you have knowledge about that topic, better for you because it is going to be related. But if you don't know anything about that, it doesn't matter. The thing is that you need to understand keywords and some phrases that could be asked during the questions. Here, you cannot replay the listening, okay? So you only listen once, okay? So you make sure, and according to the lecture that is in a natural voice, a natural pace, they will be speaking a little fast, like a natural. You have to take notes quickly, like the very important notes. And for that, again, be sure that you don't have to write complete sentences, like all the sentences that they say, okay? In this section, you won't see anything. I mean, letters. You won't see the reading. You only listen. Okay? So for that, you have to be sure about what you're listening and understand some keywords for that. You will see the clock, but the clock only works at the time that you are answering, not at the time that you are listening. Okay, so you're listening, the clock doesn't run. When you start, when the listening finishes, the clock starts and you go. Okay, when you listen, you will not see the questions. So you first listen, and then you will see the question. Okay, at the end of the lecture, at the end of the conversation. And for this, the same of the reading, if you don't know the answer, if you don't guess the answer or it's taking too much time to answer it, click something, okay? Click in any answer. Sometimes your intuition knows the answer, so let it go, okay? But that in case that you don't or you're not able to give an answer, okay? So is the last option we can say, but never let a question unanswered. Okay. Years ago, we have a penalization about letting questions unanswered. It is penalized. This time, it is not anymore. Okay, so don't worry, but at the end, also counts for your score that you are letting questions without an answer. Okay, so be sure that all the questions are answered. Okay, and again, trust in your intuition. Okay, you as ladies, all of you are girls, so we can say that you have the sixth sense. Believe in your sixth sense, you know. Okay, trust on you. Okay, sometimes when you are very stressed in the time that you are listening, you can trust in what the answer is, and maybe that is the answer. Maybe that is the answer. Okay, so trust in you. Now, at the time of the TOEFL, we're going to start checking one type of the prompt. So there are two types of conversation prompt. And this type, the common one or the prompt for a conversation could be in office hours or academic things, something that is related to the school. Okay, so you will hear one of each on the test day about office hours and service encounters. So we are going to revise one of those. Okay, now let's take a look of one of these conversations. Tell me if you can see it. Okay, this is a sample about an office hour conversation. Okay, so let's listen. We are going to listen and follow with the reading. Okay, right now we have this advantage because we can listen and read at the same time. At the day of the TOEFL, you only listen. Okay, so let's check. And here we go.
Sample. Office hours conversation. Directions.
Can you listen? Everybody listens?
Yes.
Yes, it's okay.
Here we go. Take a look.
Listen to a sample conversation, then answer the questions on the next page. Do not look at the questions. On test day, you will not see the questions as you listen. Remember to answer all the questions. You will not lose points for a wrong answer. Now listen as a student talks to a professor. Professor Morgan, hi, do you have a minute?
Sure, Sue. Come in. What's up?
I have a question about my essay you just gave back. Where should I start? I worked really hard on it and, well, I thought I'd get a better grade, but yeah, talk about a shock. Anyway, can you tell me why I got such a low grade?
Sure. Do you have the essay with you?
Yes, right here. It's on the question of legalizing marijuana. You asked us to pick a side and argue in favor of it. I took the pro side.
Yes, now I remember. Let me take a look at it. Right.
Is it too short? Is that why I didn't get an A?
No, length is really not an issue. Let me rephrase that. There's no connection between length and quality. Some might disagree, but frankly, some of the best essays I've graded have been short. Not 1 page short, mind you, but, a couple of really focused pages that address the subject with no extra verbiage. Some of the worst essays I've seen have been, well, let's just leave it at that, shall we?
Well, if length isn't a problem, then what is?
Well, it all starts with your opinion. Show me which sentence is your opinion.
It's this one right here.
Sorry, but that's not an opinion. You're simply telling me what you'll write about. Remember, your opinion must be arguable. Since you're arguing the pro side of the marijuana issue, you really need to state what you believe in no uncertain terms. By doing so, your audience will know from the start where you stand.
That's exactly what I was having trouble with, my opinion.
Try this. Simply say, personally, I believe that, and then add what you believe. For example, I believe that Americans should have the right to choose, or I believe that marijuana should be legalized for medical purposes. Got it?
Yeah, okay, I see.
Also, your opinion must be supportable. When I say supportable, I mean each body paragraph must have one specific topic. Then you must develop that topic in detail. Look at body paragraph 1. You start off by saying, legalizing marijuana would be good for the economy in the first sentence. Then you suddenly switch to, it has many medical benefits in the next sentence. This signals a clear lack of development in both topics.
But that's what I believe.
Yes, but now we're talking the mechanics of developing and supporting your opinion. Do so by giving each supporting topic its own body paragraph. In this case, legalizing marijuana would be good for the economy is the topic of your first body paragraph, and the medical benefits is the topic of your second body paragraph.
You mean do what I did in paragraph 3?
Exactly. In body paragraph 3, you focus on how legalizing marijuana will decrease the crime rate. However, you still need to develop this topic in detail. Give an example, one with statistics. You know what I mean. Do the same for body paragraphs 1 and 2. Remember, the more you develop your supporting examples, the more persuasive your argument will be. Right now, you're just scratching the surface. To be honest, this reads more like a first draft.
I see what you mean. Can I rewrite it for a higher grade?
Sure. Can you have it on my desk by 9 tomorrow morning?
By 9? I'll try.
Okay, so she'll try. Okay, so now let's analyze what they have seen this part. In every part, you see, and as considering that the time that the TOEFL, you won't see the letters, I mean the lyrics of all this. You have to identify where each paragraph starts. But that is a little impossible, maybe, because we don't know, or it is like a conversation. In this conversation is 1 and 1, 2, 2, 2, given examples. Now, for that, we have identified signal words that indicates where are the main points or main ideas from that. Now, on the test day, expect 1 office hours prompt followed by 5 questions. That is the one that I have to check right now. For this prompt type, a student has an academic problem, that is the girl, such as late homework or a missed assignment. The student will ask her or his professor for advice, could be a boy or a girl. The professor will help the students solving his or her problem. That is what you expect on a day of the in this type of this. Now, in the introduction, is worth for three things. They had three purposes. The first one is to introduce the context. Is the main thing about the introduction every time, not only for listening, it's also for all the tasks from the TOEFL. Okay, as we said the last time, TOEFL tasks are predictable because are related to the same structure with introduction and the body. Conclusions usually are optional, but it's better when you have them. So the main thing or the main context about all the listening you will find at the beginning. Okay, the easiest thing that you have to understand is, for example, here, the context, the situation is that a student asking something about a professor to the professor. Okay, that is the context. The context is at a school, they have a problem with an essay, and that is the general situation there. Then the second purpose is to introduce the topic that in this case, in this example, the topic is about the essay that she had a low score. Okay, the last essay that she gave back. Okay, and the third is the problem that, for example, in this case, the student wants to know why didn't get an A? No, so why get a low score? That is the problem. So at the time that you are listening, you have to note every one of those. These points are predictable because at the time that you're listening this type of conversation, you have to identify them. You have to say, okay, it has, I need to know the context, I need to know the topic, and what is the problem, okay? And you identify all of them, okay? So when you understand the general context, one of the questions will be asking about the general thing, no? It's a general questions about the introduction. The first one, like saying, what is the main purpose of all the conversation? And so you decide. And normally you understand by the introduction. Okay. So it could be about the context, the topic, or the student problem. So you have to identify them. Now, here we can notice it is important because during the all listening, you will listen to many hesitations. Okay, as I said previously, you will listen hesitations, you will listen corrections, you will listen these things that as a natural speaker you can do. Okay, in this case you will listen a perfect speech, like very fluid, I mean in a way that is like a reading, because supposedly it's a conversation. Normally in a conversation we have this like I'm doing, no? This well, this and that. So these kind of things you will listen in that conversation. Okay, I know if you understand. Because it's natural speaking again. So you have to be prepared for these hesitations when you're listening. Okay, now in the body, you have to be ready to identify the three aspects. That is, each paragraph has intro, body, and conclusion, usually. Okay, because in very small parts they have related what is the problem, then what is the solution, and when there is the conclusion of that thing for each paragraph. Sometimes, for example, in the first part we need to identify what is the problem. In this case we can say that is the length. Okay, so here the professor will give some advice about the length and says, no, the length is really not an issue. So here, note the cause and effect reasoning supporting the length advice. Frankly, Some of the best essays I've graded have been short, not 1 page short, mind you, but you know, a couple of really focus pages that address. So cause and effect relationship. The second example or the second problem is their opinion. And it says, well, it starts with your opinion. Show me which sentence is your opinion. Is it right here? And the third is the problem. Okay, that's exactly what I was having trouble with, my opinion. Now, in this example, looks very easy to find, right? Now, in the normal speaking, like tomorrow you will have a practice with this, could be a little different in the way that is a different topic, but it will be the same structured. Okay, so we will be listening to a conversation between a student and a professor, and it follows the same structure, like first introducing the context, then introducing the problem, and at the end the conclusion of how to solve the problem that it has been presented. Okay, so in this case you will see the three. Look for a transitional word, the example, and the conclusion for each. Okay, actually this tick, if you ask what does that tick mean, it is a transitional word, it is an illustration or example, and then the conclusion, that is the reason for that example, okay, for that illustration. So as a TOEFL, it is very predictable. All the tasks are the same. They have the same structure with the transitional word, the introduction, and the conclusion. Okay. Now we have here the problem, and then another advice that supports. Also, your opinion must be supportable. It's part of the advice. So giving what, if you see it started for the paragraph, then is the next comment of the professor, and giving cause and effect reasoning supporting the support advice. Okay, saying those, and we have to find signal words. No? You start off by saying, if you see, this is a signal word, it's an expression that you're given, you are starting the new comment or introducing an example or more information about. Okay. And for the last, the advice, give an example, and here saying why she should give an example, given those. Same structure. And for the end, we have the conclusion. By the conclusion, the professor will have solved the student's problem. The conclusion will typically suggest a future action, such as the student below writing and handing in her essay for a higher score, a higher grade. That is what she asked for at the time. Now here, the future action is, sure, can you give it on my desk by 9 tomorrow morning? Giving an option that will happen at the future. Okay. Now, if you think about, if you analyzed all the text, all the listening was a main purpose. That is this. Can I rewrite it for a higher grade? The main purpose of that is that she wants to write it again. She needs to do it again to get a higher score. So all that thing, it was because of that. Okay. Okay. So when you finish, or when you check that, you will see these rejoinders in the conversation. when you change or when in the paragraph is changed by the illustrations, you will see some transitions like rejoinders. A rejoinder is a short reply of affirmation, like saying again, yes, I see what it's saying. Rejoinders are transitional signal words telling you that this is the conclusion of this topic and the start of the next. For example, here it says, try this. Simply say, personally, I believe that, and then add what you believe. For example, I believe that Americans should have the right to choose, or I believe that marijuana should be legalized for medical purposes. Got it? Yeah, okay, I see. And then you finish that topic, I mean, one she's saying, and then start a new one. Now, also, your opinion must be supportable. Talking, changing the topic. Okay, good. So now, when the time or when the listening ends, you finish listening, you will start seeing the questions. Okay. For example, in this case, you have 5 questions. All of them are multiple choice. You will hear the directions that it says. Now get ready to answer the questions. Answer each question based on what is stated or implied in the conversation. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So here you have the questions, and one of them are for 1-point questions. Another, you have to listen again part of the lecture to understand what is the question about. Okay, so let's analyze it. Let's see the first question. I don't know. Segel, did you listen the lecture, the conversation?
No, I cannot hear the entire
No?
conversation.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
also, Tanya, did you listen?
Yeah, yes, I did. I listened.
Okay. Only Segel didn't listen? Okay. So let's do something. Let's be polite and let's listen again very quickly. And then, but this time we won't read it. Only listen, and then we are going to answer these questions. Okay? So I will put this so you don't see the questions because you have to pay attention. Also, when you are taking notes about this, I mean the listening, just pay attention when they are explaining the problem, when they are giving the solutions, when they are saying, or how can I say, yeah, going further about explanation in that case. There must be the questions that you will find in the questions. Okay. So if you take notes about the title or the main purpose, it is not that necessary. We could say that it's not necessary. You copy the main topic or things like that because it's fresh. No, it's something that you will listen. It's really fresh, so you don't spend time writing down because at the time of the listening, you will have in your mind. Now, if you are not sure about that and you rather copying what is the main topic about, then copy. But it's again up to you. The thing is that you need to take advantage of your time. Remember, you don't have a lot of time to answer all this. So, and you only will listen once. Okay, when the listening finishes, is the only time that you will listen. So here we go. Let's listen and then let's start answering the questions. Here we go.
Sample. Office hours conversation. Directions. Listen to a sample conversation. then answer the questions on the next page. Do not look at the questions. On test day, you will not see the questions as you listen. Remember to answer all the questions. You will not lose points for a wrong answer. Now listen as a student talks to a professor. Professor Morgan, hi, do you have a minute?
Sure, Sue. Come in. What's up?
I have a question about my essay you just gave back. Should I start? I worked really hard on it and, well, I thought I'd get a better grade, but yeah, talk about a shock. Anyway, grade?
Sure. Do you have the essay with you?
Yes, right here. It's on the question of legalizing marijuana. You asked us to pick a side and argue in favor of it. I took the pro side.
Yes, now I remember. Let me take a look at it. Right.
Is it too short? Is that why I didn't get an A?
No, length is really not an issue. Let me rephrase that. There's no connection between length and quality. Some might disagree, but frankly, some of the best essays I've graded have been short. Not 1 page short, mind you, but, a couple of really focused pages that address the subject with no extra verbiage. Some of the worst essays I've seen have been, well, let's just leave it at that, shall we?
Well, if length isn't a problem, then what is?
Well, it all starts with your opinion. Show me which sentence is your opinion.
It's this one right here.
Sorry, but that's not an opinion. You're simply telling me what you'll write about. Remember, your opinion must be arguable. Since you're arguing the pro side of the marijuana issue, you really need to state what you believe in no uncertain terms. By doing so, your audience will know from the start where you stand.
That's exactly what I was having trouble with, my opinion.
Try this. Simply say, personally, I believe that, and then add what you believe. For example, I believe that Americans should have the right to choose, or I believe that marijuana should be legalized for medical purposes. Got it?
Yeah, okay, I see.
Also, your opinion must be supportable. When I say supportable, I mean each body paragraph must have one specific topic. Then you must develop that topic in detail. Look at body paragraph 1. You start off by saying, legalizing marijuana would be good for the economy in the first sentence. Then you suddenly switch to, it has many medical benefits in the next sentence. This signals a clear lack of development in both topics.
But that's what I believe.
Yes, but now we're talking the mechanics of developing and supporting your opinion. Do so by giving each supporting topic its own body paragraph. In this case, legalizing marijuana would be good for the economy is the topic of your first body paragraph, and the medical benefits is the topic of your second body paragraph.
You mean do what I did in paragraph 3?
Exactly. In body paragraph 3, you focus on how legalizing marijuana will decrease the crime rate. However, you still need to develop this topic in detail. Give an example, one with statistics. You know what I mean. Do the same for body paragraphs 1 and 2. Remember, the more you develop your supporting examples, the more persuasive your argument will be. Right now, you're just scratching the surface. To be honest, this reads more like a first draft.
I see what you mean. Can I rewrite it for a higher grade?
Sure. Can you have it on my desk by 9 tomorrow morning?
By 9? I'll try. Now get ready to answer the questions. Answer each question based on what is stated or implied in the conversation.
Okay, so in that case, we'll start checking about what are the questions you will see in. Okay, so we will listen in the question and then we are going to answer the question.
Number 1. What are the student and the professor mainly discussing?
What are the students and the professor mainly discussing? Options: A, the student's opinion. B, the student's essay about illegal drugs. C, the student's attendance record. Or D, the student's most recent grade. What do you think?
I think the option B, the students essay about illegal drugs. No, no, I don't know. I'm about B or D, but I'm not sure.
B or D? I guess it's D.
Teacher,
Yep.
I think it's option A.
A.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone else? What do you think, Sigel?
I think it's letter D because I think that the main purpose of the conversation it's because why she had a bad note. So I think that that's why it's D. But I don't know. Maybe it could be B. But I think that it's more closer the option D.
Okay. I think it's A. Belen also thinks it's A. So we have here, it says A, the student's opinion. B, the student's essay about illegal drugs. C, the student's attendance record. D, the student's most recent grade. Now, again, when we have nobody choose C, so why? Because in any part of the lecture it mentions something about the attendance, right? So this is out of the question, so nothing to do here. So there's no. A student's opinion, in this case, here they are talking about a problem of the essay was her opinion, but it wasn't the main focus of the all conversation, right? So the opinion, the student's opinion is not really the focus of this, okay? So for the option here is not correct. The student's opinion is only part of the problem from the essay, why she didn't develop her opinion. Okay, she didn't choose correctly the opinion, but it wasn't the main or the complete focus of that. Now, the options B and D that we had, the student's essay about illegal drugs and the student's most recent grade. Okay. This is a little tough because they have both, they too are kind of the same thing or the same answer. The only difference is the most recent grade. Both of them are very important or are very present on all the lecture. But if we go deeper about what is the essay, it said the students must recent grade. It was part of the introduction, you remember? So the thing here, it was the first part, the first question that it says, why did I get um, a low grade? No? In that case, it was only the question. But then he started asking about marijuana, these things, illegal drugs, these things. So the correct answer is little B because it goes further introducing or explaining things about the essay, specifically about the essay of illegal drugs. Think. Just here, why not recent grade? Because it's only the introduction of that part. We could say that it was the general idea of this essay. Okay, it's like the top, and this goes all deep. Okay, so the correct answer is letter B. Let's listen the second.
Number 2. Why does the student visit the professor?
Why does the student visit the professor? A, to learn how to write better essays. B, to find out why she got a low grade on her essay. To discuss the pros and cons of the marijuana debate, or to ask for any extension. What do you think? Belen says B. Belen, B also.
I think it's B2.
B, also B.
Yeah, I think it's
B.
B2.
B, more B. Okay. So here it says, A, to learn how to write better essay. No, it wasn't made the purpose of that. No, the professor was explaining how to increase or how to develop her essay. So yeah, but she was giving only advices on how to increase or how to develop it. But it's not the main topic, like the professor teaching how to write a better essay. No, right? Just giving advices. C, so no, that's not correct. C, to discuss the pros and cons of the marijuana debate. In this case, the focus, it wasn't the marijuana, so no. In that case, either marijuana wasn't the main topic about. Then, to find out why she got a low grade on her essay or to ask for an extension. If you remember, the last part of the last conclusion of giving the solution of all that conversation was giving an extension. You remember? So the main purpose of all that thing, all that conversation, like when you go to the teacher with a goal in mind, you're like, "Hello, teacher, why is this?" And at the end, you ask, "Could I give you later?" So you ask for extension. So it's similar here. So the main purpose of that is to ask an extension. Now, to find out why she got a low grade on her essay, it was the first question of that, giving, oh, why I didn't get an A on my essay. It was the first question only, okay? But the reason, the main reason of why it is to ask an extension, okay? Here we can call this like a distractor, okay? In a tough question, it isn't like a distractor when we say, like, to find out. Yeah, she is asking about why she got a low grade, but the purpose of that conversation was asking for an extension. Okay, so be careful with this. It's not always given though that easy. As I told you, and when we're checking about the conclusion, the main purpose of this is asking for extension. And question number 3 says,
Number 3. In which areas does the student's essay need revising? Select 2. This is a 1-point question.
in this, you need to select 2 options. This is a 1-point question. It says you have choice the developer, the body, the thesis, or the sentence by ready. Okay, now, what do you think?
I think it could be A and B.
A and B. What else? Someone else?
I would say C.
The thesis. A and B and C, A and B.
Teacher, I think it's B, but the other one I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay, so we can say the sentence variety, nobody chooses because it's not part of the thing that the professor was saying, like, yeah, you need to change your sentences variety. She didn't mention anything of that, so this is like nothing to do here. Now, you have to be careful on understanding what is the developer, and in that case, the professor mentioning that it has to increase, they have to develop their sentences or their examples. But all of them, if you remember that the professor were mentioning, like, yes, you need to do in the paragraph 1 to develop this idea. And she said, no, like I did in the paragraph 3. You remember that part? So in that, the develop that they need to reach is on a specific thing, the body. The body is where you have the examples. So when you have to develop the example 1, the example 2, well, you need to revise all the body. Okay, so not only for the choose one develop, for developer, it mean all the part of the examples. That is, say the example 1, example 2, getting similar to the example 3. And the thesis, that is some, if you remember in the part it says like, yeah, you are like scratching the surface and the thing. So you need to increase what the thesis or what is the idea that is supporting here. So the correct answers here are B and C. Let's go for the next weekly says.
Number 4. What does the professor think about short essays?
What does the professor think about short essays? I think that that one is a little easy. A, one focus page is best. B, short essay always get higher grades. C, a focused short essay is best. And a short essay never has an opinion. What do you think?
Is option C.
Belen says C. Pamela says C.
The same.
Daniel
C.
says C.
Yeah,
Correct?
same.
Correct. So this one is also easy because you know the part that she was saying, like one page long or one page short is not, it is not that as bad as you think. Like the best essays are short, not long. So they've her advice or her position is that the short essays and focus essays are the best. That's correct. And the last, you need to listen a short part of the lecture where you need to support why the professor or the student says something. So let's listen.
Number 5. Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
Remember, the more you develop your supporting examples, the more persuasive your argument will be. Right now, you're just scratching the surface. To be honest, this reads more like a first draft.
What does the professor imply when she says this?
Right now, you're just scratching the surface.
With that expression, what does she imply? A, she thinks the students hates essay writing. B, she thinks part of the student's essay are scratched. C, she thinks the student's essay lacks depth. Or D, she thinks the student is on a wrong track. What do you think? Tanya says D.
I think C.
C. Okay. Now here we need to identify when she said you scratch the surface. For that you need to understand, or you need to have the base of knowledge. What is scratch? What is surface? And what are some synonyms that we have in those? Okay. So scratching the surface in a as an expression, you're saying like very lack of ideas. So you say she thinks the students hates essay writing. It doesn't have anything to do. No, nothing to say. She thinks part of the students' essays are scratched. This is a literal definition of the word scratched. So no, it's not like saying the paper is scratched. No, you're saying that way. She thinks the student is on the wrong track. You're saying you're not implying that. But what he's saying is the student's essay lacks depth. Do you understand the word depth? What is depth? What that is?
Profound.
Right. So when you're saying scratching the surface, it means that you don't go further in your information, or it's just like saying the general idea and you don't specify things on your essay. And that's what she implies and she's saying according to the professor. So the correct answer is letter C. She thinks the student's essay lacks depth. Okay. And with that, you finish this listening part. You have one of those. Remember, you will have 3 or 4 according to the same structure. Okay. So do you have any questions so far? Nope. Okay. So please answer this little survey that appears on your screen. Tell me, Belen. Or okay, don't worry, Belen. Don't worry. Okay, I'm missing 2 people to answer. The question is about the question number 2. Yeah, what happened with it? Let's see. But everybody answered the question. Answering? I don't understand. I don't really understand why it was D. Okay, let's go for it. Let me finish with the survey. I'm missing 2 people answering the survey.
I didn't get the result.
It doesn't appear there?
No,
Oh,
for me,
okay.
no.
Okay. Okay. Anyway. So the question number 2 says, why does the student visit the professor? And we say this. You had the option, you choose the option B, and I said the letter D, right? Now, what is the purpose, the main purpose of the visiting? As we said at the beginning, when we introduce the context here, it says, why I got such a low grade? She's asking about introducing the context only, introducing the problem about why she got low grade in here, right? But it's only the starting of the introduction, okay? It's only to know. It is starting they're starting the conversation. But the main purpose, like, you really get to the professor for asking a a oh, she can write it again. Okay, so the purpose is to deliver later on the to get a higher score. Okay, so all the conversation that they got is because she needed another opportunity to deliver the homework. Okay, so as the introduction, as the setting the context, it was this, but the purpose, the reason of all that conversation finishes with giving an extension mm, of delivering the homework, delivering the essay. That's why the correct answer is letter D. Sorry. Okay, so it is, as I told you, this one we call it as a distractor because sounds very, it sounds very obvious, we could say. It says, but in the question it doesn't say purpose. The purpose goes by why, given a reason. The purpose is similar reason, so it's a synonym. It says, why does the student visit the professor? In other words, what is the purpose of the student visiting the professor? Okay, so the question word why is asking for a reason, a purpose. At the end, why is she getting there? This is that. That's why these both B and D are very controversial because sounds very obvious. Sounds obvious, like she's getting there because she needs to know why she got a lower score, right? But it was the introduction, the setting the context. Okay, so you go for this because you need an extension of your work. See, I mean, yes. Okay, so that's why we have the letter D as an answer. Anyways, tomorrow you also will be working in the practice with this, and you have a little more practice. Remember, in this part, you will have 5 or 6 questions for each listening. Okay, so you have to manage your time very quickly. You have to answer very quickly. Just listen that. When you take notes, do it, but briefly. Like, even if you can write only consonants without vowels, it's better. But be sure that you understand. And it's like, what? What did I write? I don't know. Be sure that you can understand your ideas. Even you can use some symbols to understand your ideas, and don't spend time like writing complete sentences and writing the big paragraphs because you won't have enough time. Okay, so you manage your time, you manage your notes when you are taking and the time you are listening. Okay, so if there is any other question, thank you so much for being here, and see you in the next class.
Okay, Mister, thank
Thank you,
you.
teacher.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, teacher.